Hello, fourth grade, and welcome back to the final week of art for October. And you can see I added the cover to my book, and all I did was I took a piece of paper that was a little bit bigger than the book inside, and I just cut it out to be a roof, and the front of my haunted house. And my daughter is asking me to color this in, so I'm gonna let her do it. But you guys in school have been doing such a wonderful job working on all of your illustrations for the pages in your haunted castle or house. So keep working on that and finish it up. Do a really nice job coloring. And now you know how to make a pop-up book. So when you finish this, you can continue on to the next part of the video and see what we're doing for our final week in October. Okay, so to get started on our fun Halloween project, here are the things that you're going to need. I have some Q-tips, which I grabbed from my bathroom. So I have a bunch of those. I have my scissors, which I'll keep in my cauldron here. I have some masking tape, which I'll put up there. And if you don't have masking tape, you can also use transparent Scotch tape. And you'll need some plain white paper, okay? So I'm gonna move you up a little, and let me show you what we're gonna do. We're going to build a skeleton, like on my shirt here, and it's a fun project that you could do in any grade and at any age. Now, obviously, if you're younger, you will probably need a little help, but what a fun project to do for the season. And what's fun is skeletons are for anybody, so you can do this any time of the year. The first thing I'm gonna do is I wanna create the arm, okay? So grab a little piece of tape and put the two Q-tips together like that, and then just wrap it. And I was amazed, I made one of these before, at how cool this looks when you're done. So take your time. If you don't finish it with me right now, I got it. It's okay. If you don't have Q-tips right now, it's okay. You can do it later. So there. Now if you just take the end of the Q-tip and bend it, look at that. You have a hand, you have an elbow, and I'm gonna even bend it right there a little bit, okay? So I'm gonna repeat that and make his other arm. All right, so there. 2 arms, done. Now, let's work on connecting 4 more Q-tips. That way we can create his spine, okay? So I'm just gonna take 1, 2. I mean, once you start, it goes super quick. And I'll do 1 more. There. Okay. So I have 4 Q-tips here. And 2 Q-tips for each arm. So now I'm gonna take 2 more Q-tips, and I'm going to make them connect just like this. And this is gonna create his clavicle bone up here. So now I'm gonna just connect his arms to his clavicle and create his shoulder joints. So there's 1. Ooh, a little bit of cotton got loose on me there. You know what? No big deal. Just tape it back up. There. And I'm gonna connect it onto the other side to make his other arm. Again, it's just wrapping and pushing. Very easy. Look at that. And now let's take a spine, and you want to connect it right about here. You don't want to make his neck too big, right? So let me connect that. And I'm just gonna basically spin some of my tape around just to get it stuck. And then I can always go back in and secure with more, which I'm gonna do. Just like that. It's like putting a bandage on a mummy, right? All right, so look at that. Look at my frame already. Isn't that awesome? So let's count how many Q-tips I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 Q-tips. Now, let's move on to the piece of paper. Okay, so I'm gonna pan you down so you can see my piece of paper, and I'm gonna move my which is in sign. Love that sign. And I'm gonna move my little pumpkin out of the way. Okay, so now you need your scissors, and I'm just gonna cut a piece of paper in half. Okay, and I'm gonna grab a piece of tape, and if you have a glue stick works too. And I'm gonna roll this up to make, let's see, a tube about the size of a paper towel tube or a toilet paper roll. Okay, so I think this is too long, so I'm gonna just cut it maybe a little bit more in half. Cut it off a little bit. There. Okay, so now I'm gonna flatten the tube, just like that, and I'm gonna create the rib cage. Now, did you know that every human has 24 ribs, 12 on each side? But because we're making a sculpture, I'm not gonna make 12 on each side. I'm just gonna hack into it, so watch. You just take your piece of paper, and ribs, if you notice, kind of curve. So when you cut, I'm just gonna trim the bottom first, like that. And I'll trim the top a little bit so that way I can start seeing the shape of it. Do you see? And now, I'm just gonna cut skinny little lines, just like that. The skinnier you make them, the more you can put. So if you want to make it accurate, then do enough cuts on one side to make 12 ribs. Do you see that? But I'm gonna cut some of these ribs out to help it make it look a little more rib cage. Right now I just see like cuts, right? So now I'm gonna do the other side. And don't cut too far because you want to have a sternum, which is this bone right here, in the middle. Okay? So take your time. And as I work, I can see that I can definitely cut some of this off. So as an artist, you're doing some sculpting. And do you see how, looking at my shirt, I made the bottom of his sternum right there? So now, before I turn this back into a tube, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna cut off every other piece. Do you see how I was able to do that? I guess you can leave it if you wanted, right? But I like the space in between. It makes it look a little more rib cage-like. So just go in. There. And now I have to work on that top a bit. So I think to make the top, I'll just kind of trim it like that. All right? Now, if you open it back up, you should get, look at that. Look at your rib cage. Isn't that pretty cool? Okay, so now to connect the rib cage to your skeleton frame, you want to put a piece of tape on the front of his tummy, okay? And you're gonna slide your rib cage up go as high as you can get it, and then just smush the tape onto the back and fix your frame a bit. And look at that. Do you see the skeleton's rib cage? Pretty cool, right? Boys and girls, before we continue our skeleton, I wanted you to see Boris. He's all excited for Halloween. He has his costume ready, but he hangs out with me underneath the table, and he hopes that maybe a crumb falls and he can nibble on it, right, Boris? So anyway, let's get back to our skeleton, and I'll show you the rest of the project, okay? So let's pop him down. See ya, Boris. And now that I have my skeleton starting to look pretty good, I'm now gonna create a head, and basically just take your scrap paper and go in, and you can look at the picture over here, and you can try to copy what you think the shape of a skull looks like. There's his head. See his head? And now, down here, you want to leave a little space, but you want to put his pelvis, right? So to make a pelvis, it's so easy. Watch. Take a piece of paper, fold it in half, find the folded line. Boy, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? And you want to just cut out the shape of sort of like a heart, right? Half of a heart. And when you open this up, look at that. It makes a pelvis bone. And now what I can do is I can reach into my cauldron here. By the way, it has a creepy hand on it. I don't know if you saw that. And I can just make the shape, and I'll pan you down here so you can see, of his eyes. Fix his arms a little bit, but I like him. And now I have a little skeleton puppet. Boys and girls, I want to show you, if you don't want to make a puppet and you want to make more of a decoration, here I made a pair of legs just by doing the same thing I did with his arms, and I just taped them onto the pelvis, and I took some more time and I cut out the holes, and now I have a guy that can sit on my shelf at home or on top of my cauldron, and here is my other puppet. So you can see that you can make a really cool festive project by just finding some Q-tips, some tape, and some plain white paper and scissors, okay? So give it a try. I hope that you're creative, and I hope that you can make a skeleton. And you know what? If this seems a little challenging for you and you're working alone, or you need some help, you can just take your paper and you can just build a skeleton on your piece of paper like this, and look at the picture I have on the screen, and you can try to build a fun skeleton with just Q-tips on the paper and make it a flat skeleton. So there's so many different ways to adapt the project. I want you to be creative, I want you to have fun, and just try. That's what art is about, using your imagination, using your hands, and using your eye, right? So I hope you had fun making our last project for October, and next week we will begin our November project. So have fun, boys and girls. I'll see you next week. Bye.